All right, everyone, here we are with ticker symbol PLTR. And before we jump into this chart, I want to go ahead and say to all my first time viewers and investors, welcome to my channel, Invest for Tomorrow. To all my subscribers, welcome back. And let's jump into this chart. So here we are with PLTR stock, and we're going to see how this chart has been looking today and what has happened. I mean, just based off of what we're seeing, resistance was broken through, and it only lasted for about 2 hours. And then you can also see for about an hour of the day, or almost an hour and a half actually, going on to almost 2 hours, that the stock was rejected 3 times at that resistance level. That's a very important number right now that I would keep in mind. And even though it broke through it, it wasn't able to stay above it, and it got rejected at it 3 times in the day. Super important. So let me go ahead and click on it. I would go ahead and suggest to all investors that we're going to look at the new resistance level. It's slightly moved, but 1863, keep that number in mind if we break through this resistance and if the bulls are able to stay above that in the next coming days or week. So super important to keep that in mind. Now, the 50-day moving average, as I stated yesterday, for the bulls to maintain leverage and not have the 50-day moving average significantly catch up to the price, it had to break through resistance and stay above it and pull away from it. Well, it actually went up, fell back down, and it's leveled off slightly back to where we were yesterday. And currently the 50-day moving average is catching up to the price. I mean, all it takes, and I want to go ahead and say an apology to everyone on how terrible I draw, but just to illustrate, if it kind of continues in this movement, this is significantly going to pass the price, and it's going to end up above it, and the price is going to end up below it, giving leverage to the bears to bring this down. So this is very important right now to keep in mind and pay close attention to that as well, apart from these resistance levels. But once again, this resistance level 1863, keep it in mind. Write that down so that you guys know how is this reacting once it breaks through that, and is it staying above it, because it got rejected almost twice yesterday and 3 times in a row today. So that's very important for us to pay close attention to based off the chart and what's going on. Now, what is our 50-day moving average? Well, the 50-day moving average currently is 1755. Lets us know that when we're above it, we're in bullish territory, and when we're below it, we're in bearish territory. So we need to pay close attention to how quickly this stock is moving down or further away from it. So for the bulls to actually have a recovery here, they're going to want to break through this resistance. Now, keep in mind again, 1863, and see how it's reacting. But the most important resistance level for the bulls to hit new highs and move much further away from the 50-day moving average and hit newer resistance levels, they need to break through 1925. They need to turn 1925 into a support, reach newer resistance levels, newer highs, and move further away from the 50-day moving average in an upward direction. So super important for the bulls to break through that. That's the highest point that they reached in this bullish run, and that's the highest valuation that the stock has reached. So that's a very pivotal and important number and moment for the bulls to continue this bullish run and upward trajectory. Now, we're currently down here at 1836/44. That's what it's calculating right now for this 30-minute time frame. But we're in this area. But to be exact, it's 1844 based off the chart and based off of what it's calculating and showing us. But let's go ahead and get this resistance level to the T here. And we're currently in this area. For the bulls to continue this and actually not allow this 50-day moving average to catch up to the price, the bulls need a breakthrough 1851. They need to turn that into a support. That's our resistance level, and that's the point of reference that the bulls need to break through, turn into a support, so that they can continue the staircase effect and get to the next levels, right? Right after is that 1863 mark, and then obviously all the way up here at the highest point so that they can hit newer highs. I mean, they need to keep jumping and forming staircases effects to go in the upward direction. And again, I apologize. I have terrible drawing, but just to illustrate how important it is for them to break through this this resistance level and turn it into a support. Now, this support that's been created by breaking through the resistance, the bulls are now pulling away from the 50-day moving average and not allowing it to catch up. That's probably the most significant part here, because by default, this is going to end up making the price end up in bearish territory. So the bulls need to continue this momentum by breaking through resistance levels. And the first one is 1851, turning into a support so that they can start to reach newer highs. So I want to emphasize the bulls need to break through that. Just like yesterday's resistance level, they need to break through that, because if not, they're allowing the 50-day moving average to catch up to the price, and it's going to become much more difficult to maintain this control in bullish territory. Now, on the other hand, we have our support level, and that's 1779. If 1779 is broken through, I want to emphasize that every single investor needs to pay close attention to how the reaction of this stock is. How is it reacting? How quickly is it moving to newer lows? And also, how is it reacting between the support and the 50-day moving average? Are the bulls trying to reappear, or are the bears tearing this down fairly quickly? Because there's a very small window between 1755 and 1779. That's almost a 24-cent difference that can actually determine whether this is going to stay in bullish territory or end up on its way down to bearish territory. Now, I want every single investor to be aware that if this does cross the 50-day moving average, there's still time for the bulls to reappear if this breaks through the 50-day moving average. It does not mean that the bears have gained control. The bulls can reappear, but it's going to become much harder for the bulls to break through the resistance level that they need to break through to continue to hit newer highs. But the bears will be dominating this chart if they get further away from the 50-day moving average in a downward direction. So I want to go ahead and emphasize, pay close attention to the behavior of the stock. How quickly is it moving to newer lows? If it breaks through support, how quickly is it moving towards the 50-day moving average? And how is it reacting below the 50-day moving average? And are the bulls trying to reappear anywhere in this area? As always, if you found this video helpful and informative, please do so and subscribe. Don't forget to click on the bell to turn on all notifications and not miss a single video that I post. Share this with your friends and community. And don't forget to hit that like button to let me know you watch this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and let's make some money. At the end of this video, there's going to be a pop-up video. In that video, I will be discussing about the S&P 500 index and how it's been rising several points on scheduled dates. And on these scheduled dates, the S&P 500 index is rising due to the fact that the Federal Reserve is pumping the markets. What does that mean for us as investors? Well, if the S&P 500 index is rising, there's individual ticker symbols rising up with it. They're rising up anywhere from 30 cents to $3 per share, sometimes even more. Obviously, you have to do your due diligence and research, but I know that per share may not sound like a lot, but that does add up per share. I mean, keep in mind, 30 cents to $3 per share does add up. I know that I always say profits are profits, and if you put $1 into the market and you got back $2, you've done a great job. And that's what this is all about here, so that we can all learn and grow together, and also so that I can inform every single investor and viewer on the great news that there is an opportunity to maximize profits. Now, I'm not guaranteeing you profits in the video. I'm not telling you to buy, sell, or hold anything in particular. I'm just analyzing the S&P 500 index and putting the dates and the charts side by side so you can see for yourself that they speak for themselves. Literally, it's showing it in the charts, and on the specific dates you could see it. And if it's rising up, there's individual ticker symbols within it rising up. So you have to do your due diligence, as I stated, and research. But it is an opportunity, whether the market's going up or the market's going down, to maximize profits and minimize losses. Now, again, I'm not there to guarantee you profits. I'm not there to tell you to buy, sell, or hold anything in particular. I'm just here to enlighten every single viewer and investor on the great news that there is an opportunity to maximize profits and minimize losses. Check out the video. I wouldn't want you guys to overlook it. I just did the most updated one for this week, and you'll see in the chart what I explained, and then look at the S&P 500 index today, how it reacted, and you will see everything that I talked about is in that video. It's very informative and helpful. I wouldn't want you guys to miss it. It's super good information for every single investor to be better equipped weekly. It's a weekly series that I do, so stay tuned for more as long as the Federal Reserve continues to pump the markets. Thank you guys so much for watching, and let's make some money.